Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanantam Madacharya Param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vedo Nityamadhiyatam Taduditam Karma Swanushthiyatam Tene Shasya Vidhiyatam Avachitikam Yevatisyachatam Papoga Paridhuyatam Bhavasukhe Doshonusandhiyatam Atmecha Vyavasiyata Nijagೃಹಾತ್ Purnam Vinirgamyata Sangastat Suvidhiyata Bhagavato Bhaktidridadiyata Shantyati Parichiyata Dridataram Karmashu Satyajyata Sarvidvanupasripyatam Pratidinam Tatmadukam Sevyatam Brahmekaksharamadhyatam Shrutishiro Vakyam Samakaryatam Vakyarthascha Vicharyatam Shrutishira Kakshastamashriyatam Dustarkat suviramyatam Shrudimatas karkonusandhiyatam Brahmevasmi vibhavyatam Aharahat garva parityajyatam Deheham matiruchyatam Buddhajane pada parityajyatam Kshudyadishcha chikitsyataam Pratidinam vikshaushadham bhujyatam Swadvannam natu yachyatam Vidivashat praptena santushyatam Shitoshna vivishakyatam Natu krita vakyam samucharyatam Audasinyamadipsyatam Janakripa Naishturyamutsricyatam Ekante Sukhamasyatam Paratare Chetas Samadhiyatam Purnatma Susamikshyatam Jagadidam Tarvaditam Drishyatam Prakarma pravilapyatam Chitibalam navyuttare slishyatam Prarabdham viha bhujyatam Atavara brahmatmanasmiyatam Prarabdham viha bhujyatam Atavara brahmatmanasmiyatam. So when you take a teacher, you obviously consider that person to be wiser than yourself. That is why we learn. So getting into fights, getting into arguments, all of this will stop the course of study. It's important to see why Acharya says that. It seems a very simple statement after what we saw in the verse dealing with Atma, asking for this Brahmajnana, Matma Vidya, all of that. Suddenly he says, don't get into arguments. He is saying for a specific reason. It is because it is recognized in the tradition that transference issues can be there. So it is all psychological issues that stop this study taking place, especially when there is some difference between you and the person, the teaching, from whom the teaching is taken. So here he says, don't enter into any kind of debate. You can ask questions. It is there's a word in Sanskrit, pariprashna. Pariprashna, pariprashnena sevaya. Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita, pariprashna means there is a time to ask questions. Right time, right place. These days, if you go to actually universities and even very, very well-known universities, sometimes you find that the students will shout from the back, "Hey, what are you talking about? Are you saying this?" It is allowed. This type of questioning was never allowed in those days. In fact, questions were only answered at the end of a long course of study. What was believed at that time and what actually took place also is that all the doubts that one had during the course of study will naturally get resolved during the years of study. So all the questions, especially if you see Brahma Sutras, come as the last and final text that study in Vedanta circles, because Brahma Sutra is like Samanvaya. It brings in all the doubts that arise from the Upanishad study, from the Gita study. All the doubts are put in the sutra form. So you find those doubts that came during the course of study, Brahma Sutra answers, but you just have to wait. The problem is in modern day, people don't wait. They cannot wait. The whole of society is quick answers. We want now. We want now. Everything is moksha 101. Moksha without tears. Can we ever have moksha without tears? No, we can't. There will be a lot of tears for moksha, and it's good to get the tears out as well. So nothing useful, nothing stable, nothing permanent comes without some effort and some pain. So we cannot avoid pain, and patience is a very, although it has not been really talked about in our circles, we don't find patience as a value being mentioned. But that was because in those days they already had patience. In these days, patience nobody seems to have because we're used to quick answers. So patience also should be brought into our spiritual pursuit. It is a lifelong journey, it is not overnight. If the preparation is there, definitely it can happen overnight. But generally, for most people, it is a lifelong journey of growth. And even if you don't make it in this life, Bhagavan promises nothing of your sadhana, none of your learning will ever go to waste, because in Gita he has promised specific type of births that you will have in next janma, so you can pick up the thread, that you can get connected with Vedanta again. So there is nothing to lose actually. It is about having the patience. If you don't understand something, think about it a little by yourself. This is a very good habit to cultivate. Contemplate on it. The answer may come by itself. If the answer does not come, then always pariprashna. Pariprashna means asking at the right time, right place. That all comes in here. So this is a very important. I wanted to add this for the last part of this. Buddha Jane Vada Parityajyatam means that don't allow your ego to come in the picture here when it comes to learning. In the Gurukulam also, living, close proximity with the teacher, definitely all of this, as I said in Sahana Bhavatu, the last line is what? Ma vidvishavahe. So let not there be any misunderstanding, any differences between us, because the teaching should flow unbroken. So that is the reason why Shankaracharya is adding this extra line here. Now he moves on to seemingly more mundane things again. So it's interesting. He's talked about Atma Jnanam, asking for Atma Jnanam, and now he's going back to mundane things. So we see, is it because Shankaracharya does not, thinks he's not in flow or something like that? Some people may feel that no, he's a great Acharya. He knows what he is doing. And why is he coming back? Because he's showing that this Brahma Jnanam has to come alongside practices. You never give up these practices even while you're studying this Atma Jnanam, because they can come thinking, oh, I've done all that, I got enough Shamadama, Uparama, I've got all of that, now only Atma Jnanam. So here we saw in the previous uh, verse about doing vichara and shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. Suddenly he comes to food, because all of this counts to your vichara. All of this counts to your ability to engross yourself in Vedanta Shastra. And interestingly, these days also science, I will just explain a little bit, science also talks about this, how food is connected to your brain. It is called the second brain, the gut, actually. So very interesting, Adi Shankaracharya in those days, without microscopes, without all this, he has been able to see, the rishis have been able to see the connection between food and the mind, mentioned in Upanishads. So he says, Kshud Vyadishcha Chikitsyatam. May you treat hunger as a disease. Hunger is a disease. So why is he saying this? Do we ever treat hunger as a disease? I don't think we look upon it as a disease. A disease is what? Something unpleasant. But what do? We stuff ourselves with very pleasant things. We don't look at this hunger as some kind of illness that we have. And so the medicine that is taken for hunger is often excessive. In fact, I overdose on the medicine. Many times we take overdose. When we talk about overdoses, not only heroin and cocaine and everything, food is also overdose. And maybe for lunch here, we will do some tapas, I don't know, one for day. But here he's talking about our relationship with food. There's a recurring illness that we all have, and that is the illness of hunger, the disease of hunger. And there is nothing wrong with it, because it is inbuilt, it is a natural urge. Thirst and hunger are natural urges, they're not cultivated desires. I don't choose to get hungry. I don't choose to get thirsty. It just happens. What does that mean? That some order. We saw today in meditation, there are certain orders that pervade me. I have no control over them, making me function. So, order of hunger, order of thirst is also there. And for every natural urge in creation, what is the beauty? The creation is built to give the solution to fulfill the natural urge, to satisfy the natural urge. So, what does Bhagavan provide? He provides everything, food. He provides us vegetation, vegetables. He provides us lentils, pulses. So many things he provides for food. In fact, Swamiji used to say non-veg is only modified veg. Because those animals eat the vegetables and then you eat those animals. So it's doubly processed. It's actually processed food. So that's why we say, it's good to go straight to the source. You go to nature, get the plant and eat that directly. Why to have processed through meat? So that's why, vegetarianism also becomes an important thing for mind, your thoughts as well. So here, Bhagwan has provided so much for our day-to-day needs. He's given everything. This is a 7-star hotel we are staying in. He gives us air to breathe. He gives us food to survive. We don't need anything else. And it is only to satisfy this. It is only not even to satisfy the hunger. It is to cure. See, if you take it, 2 words here, satisfy hunger, it makes it sound like food can be nice. If you say cure the disease of hunger, then you will take food in very small quantity. Generally, we find in life with medicines, they don't taste good at all. Who likes to take medicine? Sometimes I remember as a child, we're seeing a child being forced with the medicine, right? It rejects it so much. I don't want it. I don't want it. Not that we should have that kind of rejection with food, but take it. It's meant to be taken. Take it as medicine. So any disease of the body, we take proper medicine for that. It is called aushadam. Aushadam is medicine. So here he says, should vyadish chikitsatam pratidinam bhikshaushadam bhujyatam. So aushadam is a medicine. There is a saying in Sanskrit, purayet ashanena ardham. Tritiyam udakena tu. Vayu sancharanarthaya chaturtam avasheshayet. So what does that mean? Purayet ashanena ardham. Fill half of the stomach with solids. Only half of the stomach should be filled with solids. Then tritiyam udakena tu. A third quarter should be filled with water. That's why you look at South Indian meals, perfectly for it. We have rasam for that, watery. Third quarter with water. Then vayu sancharanarthaya. You should leave quarter for air to circulate. Do we leave quarter for air? We don't even know if there's a quarter. It's very difficult to tell. Usually it's the whole stomach is full when we finish. So this is the measurement actually given for how we should consume food. We should not eat until we're fully satiated. How interesting. Should eat only half. When the stomach is half full, that's it, stop. One has to learn to say no. And then quarter for liquids. You can drink some rasam. We have that. Quarter for liquids. You should feel a little bit empty. So we can't judge, is it quarter full, half full? It's only given as a plan. But we know when we're fully stuffed, we say, oh, I'm fully stuffed. So that's where I should learn to reduce. So not full. So this is so what Acharya is saying here is that one should spend on the body what it deserves. It should be given care because you're managing trustee, as Swamiji said at the talk. We are given this body, we're managing trustees over the body. I have to take care of this body to the best of my ability. But over care, over concern is again not very healthy on the spiritual path, and over indulgence. So all this over is the key here. So I less indulgence, and I keep my focus on the body reduced as well. Intermittent fasting also is a very good thing. We have our vratas, all of these are for that. So I'm able to control this, taking too much medicine, tasty medicine, to control that. So again, what has to back the tongue for this to work? It is tapas. Again, vak tapas, when you say, not just for talk. Vak tapas also comes in taste. So I have to be able to say no. Tongue, poor tongue is just, it just tastes. It doesn't do anything. It is when the mind backs the tongue goes to taste. So the mind is the key. And I used the willpower important here to bring in, say, no. You like training a baby, training a child. The mind is like my child. I say no to that mind. I'm not taking. I remember this verse, a quarter I have to leave empty. No. So this is what training requires. Then he says, swadvannam. So take it as medicine. Then swadvannam yajyatam. He goes one step further in spiritual pursuit. What is that? Don't even ask for tasty food. If it comes to you, that day I remembered, there was no salt in the chutney. but I wanted, everybody to have a good experience of chutney. So I did say, put salt in the chutney. But here Adi Shankara saying, don't even ask for salt in the chutney. Don't even say anything. Take whatever is given. But we had not studied the verse then. So that is why. Now we have studied the verse, we won't. So today, don't ask for tasty food. Because why is he saying this? It is not that, actually, before I go on, there are some sadhus in Rishikesh, and they're known to do this. When they go for Bhiksha, Kali Kambliwala, and they go different places for Bhiksha, they take the Bhiksha in one cloth and they go straight to Ganga and wash that food. Can you imagine? Ganga washes because they do not want any masala, any flavor, nothing, everything washed off. So they will consume the food just like that. Even to this day, there are some sadhus that do that. We're not going to that many drastic steps. Okay, we don't need to go and wash off all the, and but what Adi Shankaracharya is saying is that don't let your likes and dislikes come into the picture with food. Especially, with children, you see, it is encouraged now. And the Swamiji used to say when he goes to the States, you'll find American kids saying, I hate that, I don't like it, I don't want it. And from young, if you start encouraging for the food habits, then very difficult for that child as an adult because likes and dislikes, you're also already getting formed. So it's very good for parents to also practice this when they're bringing up their children. No, if you don't like it, you don't eat. That's it. Eventually, the child will get hungry. That disease takes over. It takes a bit of strength of the parents to do that. Definitely. It's not easy. But the child will definitely have to eat. We have to train, the children in that way because we're helping them in future. That is the thing about parents, gurus, all of these people. Sometimes we have to hurt in order to help. So Shastra allows for gurus and mother, father, parents to also say strong, harsh words, because we say priyam bruyat. It doesn't apply to mother, father, guru. Because sometimes you have to train. You have to train for the sake of the growth without an agenda. You want the children to be, you're giving them the tools. So sometimes one has to take harsh measures to help in order you heard in order to help. So may you not ask for tasty food. Don't be fussy about the medicine you're given. See, you're given a medicine to cure the hunger. It's like telling the doctor, no, no, I don't want this medicine. Give me that medicine, right? You're given a medicine. Who is giving you the medicine? Bhagwan is giving. So he'll say, what comes to you is from Ishvara. Whatever food comes to you daily is also prarabdha karma. So, whatever product that brings your way, we have to take as medicine. That is what Bhagavan wants. So, craving for taste should be avoided because the taste we know, it's like annalaha, it's like fire. It can never be satisfied. The more you feed it, the more it wants. And this craving type of, mind is actually bondage in spiritual life. Any type of craving becomes bondage. So practice first with food. Don't be fussy, whatever comes your way. If it's good, nutritious food, of course, if it's stale and things like that, we have to be discriminative. It is not that I take moldy, stale food either. I have to be discriminative in what I eat. But whatever I have, I eat healthy, I eat well, but not stuff myself. This is the main thing. There is a new field of science actually called nutritional psychiatry. Nutritional psychiatry, very interesting. They found a new field because they have recognized science now the importance of microorganisms in the gut. Because these microorganisms, the food that goes into the mouth affects what happens in the brain. So even physically, they have discovered this. In our Chandogya Upanishad, they've been talking about this subtle part of food goes to form your thinking. This is also mentioned by our rishis in the Upanishads. Now science is discovering, more people will accept, right? So actually, they're saying that the gut is the second brain for human beings. So imbalance in your gut means that your thinking also can be off. That is why Adi Shankaracharya is bringing specifically food in here. If you want to do vicharya, you look at the previous verse, you can connect it all. Vakyartascha vicharyatam and Shruti Shira Pakshas Samashriyatam. Everything in this previous verse requires the usage of your buddhi, requires the usage of your mind, your mental capacity. Now, if the mind is not made clean through even your food habits, your dietary habits, how will you be able to put it to vichara? You cannot. So, Shankaracharya beautifully says, be careful what you eat. Not just what you eat, from where is the food sourced? Who is cooking the food? That also matters. The person who is cooking also puts in their own energy. Suppose they're in a bad mood. Sometimes, if you eat out and things like that, you can notice if a restaurant, especially when it's very busy, the people in the kitchen get very agitated, they're very anxious, and you eat the food there, then after some time, you start getting anxious. Your mind starts getting, and you don't know why. You were very calm when you went to the restaurant. You had a very, the meal was all good because, of course, they have to provide something you're paying for. So everything looks good. But when you see behind the scenes, if you go behind the scenes into the kitchen, everybody's rushing around, everybody's anxious, too many people, customers, we can't do it. The head chef is shouting at everybody else. All of this energy is going into the food you're eating. And we don't know what other shortcuts are being taken in the kitchen. Because when food is being offered, who has if you look at the majority of humanity, who has the feeling, oh, I'm doing this for Ishvara? Any chef in any major restaurant, I'm offering this food to Ishvara. It is not a customer, it is the divine walking into my restaurant. I'm offering, I have to give the best to the divine. We don't see many, many restaurants functioning like that, right? So imagine people are doing it for money and they're doing it for their own. There may be some very, very good people who wanted to give the best. We're not saying that. But the attitude, that bhavana, we don't know when somebody's pushed. So be very careful also eating out. You have to be very sure. You could watch. How do you know some place is a good place to eat? Watch your thoughts after you have that food. That's a good way to judge because that thoughts go to make your food. So very, very important actually to these points here that Adi Shankaracharya is making. And he goes on to say, Swadvannam natu yachatam vidivashat praptena santushyatam. May you be happy with whatever comes to you in accordance with your karma. So he's not just talking about food. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna also says this: Yad richa labha santushtaha dvandva tito vimatsaraha. But he says Yad richa. Labha means whatever you gain. Yadrichaya means by chance. So there he's talking about your prarabdha karma. Whatever your prarabdha karma brings to you, by chance, you accept it. So this is very, also a very difficult step to practice. Takes some time to gain it because even unpleasant things that come, what Adi Shankaracharya is saying, let it be, accept it. Accept it as we know now when we take it from altar of Bhagavan, we accept it as prasadam. So the food that comes on your plate is because of your prarabdha. So all our punya karmas manifesting in Manjakkudi. Because the food that's coming on our plate is definitely very, very tasty food here. So a wise person is totally happy whatever comes by chance. Even whatever basic necessities are given, if the food has no salt, if it's insipid, if it's cold, if it's five-star food as well, there is no change in his thinking, whatever is there. This beautiful word here, santushyatam, this is a verb, but santoshaha all comes from the same root. It is such a beautiful word. What does it mean? Contentment. It is santripti, contentment. In fact, Patanjali in yoga shastra, there's Patanjali Yoga Sutras. These are one of the yamas he says, santoshaha. This santosha, sorry, niyama, I think niyama, he says this is santosha. And what is this? It is a way of looking at life. A way of looking at life, not saying, oh, the glass is half empty, the glass is half empty. Here, you're looking at the same glass, but you're saying, oh, wonderful, the glass is half full. The glass is half full, so your perception change. I'm content with what it, same thing, situation I'm looking. If you say glass is half empty, what does that show? I lack the other half, right? I lack the other half. So most of our minds always seeing what we lack in life. When you say, oh, glass is half full, what does it mean? I'm seeing what I have rather than what I don't have. And contentment is a quality to develop by seeing what you already have. We are blessed with so much. Do we recognize it? Every day, this gratitude. That's what today I really felt in the meditation. How many processes are taking place in this physical form without my volition? How many things are happening without me doing anything in it? So many things keeping me breathing, alive. What is this power that is making all of me function? That is Ishvara. And I have this body, I'm a resident of this body. I've been given this great gift. I've been given all the infrastructure for my survival here. Should I not be content? That is what we don't, instead of demanding from Bhagavan daily in prayer, let us thank Bhagavan for what we have. That is a beautiful prayer, actually. Bhagavan, you have given me everything. What more do I need? You keep providing me everything I need. I need no more. That is called santoshaha, contentment. Be satisfied with whatever you have. And he says, but whatever you have is because what you have earned as well. We have to be very blunt about it. What we get in life is what we deserve, what we have earned. So I'm content with whatever comes my way. Very beautiful values. Now he goes on to another very important, he's brought it in here because it's all connected. Shitoshnadi Vishakyatam. So may you endure heat and cold, etc., adi, without complaint. So heat and cold always stands for the pairs of opposites. You have this throughout the Bhagavad Gita. Any chapter you look, there will be one or two verses like this. There's a very famous verse in the second chapter, 14th verse. Matra sparshastu kauteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama payino nityaha tan stitikshasva bharata. There Bhagavan gives Arjuna the tools to face what? This pairs of opposites in life. Beginning with the pairs of opposites, the physical body is subject to. So we're put in hot, in hot climates. What is the point in, if the sun is 45 degrees, sun is shining very bright, you can't change the weather. What is the point sitting saying it's so hot, it's so hot, I can't, no point complaining. That's the way the weather is. So I can bear with the heat. And then if I put, I'm in some very cold climate. Oh, it's so cold, it's so cold. Why is it cold? It is cold. That's the fact is it's cold. The fact is it's hot. I don't control the weather patterns in life, right? So body, whenever it is exposed to heat or cold, there will be reactions. But here Bhagwan is saying, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Take the pairs of opposites relatively in the same way. Relatively, I say, because we cannot be absolute in anything. Practice taking it. Yes, it is like this. Except take that pair of opposite because life is, not just one side of the coin. If you look at our minds, at our thinking, we only want to experience one side of everything, right? We know life is duality, life is pairs of opposite, but if you look at the opposites, they will always be one side we don't want. Joy, sorrow. Which side we take? Joy. Uh, Praise, censure. Which side we take? Praise. victory, defeat. Which side we pick? Victory. Every mind, human mind, only wants one side of the coin. And how will it work? Here, Adi Shankaracharya, all the Shastra says it doesn't work. If you want to live that type of life, you will always go down when the other opposite manifests. So you're looking only for this part, and when the other one comes, then you will go down. And can we avoid the other side? No. This is very, very clear. You cannot, when there is sukha, there's going to be dukkha. When there is labha, there's going to be alabha. So it is all built like this for a specific reason, for our growth in life. There's a very nice saying in English: ships don't sink because of the water that surrounds them. Ships sink because of the water that is let into them. So I am like the ship in life. If I allow the water of the pairs of opposites in, definitely I will sink. If I keep the water outside, external, I will float. So floating is what we have to learn. This Shitoshnadi Vishakyatam is Adi Shankaracharya saying, float in life. Don't sink in life. Because life is a mixture of pleasureful and painful experiences. And what does Krishna tell Arjuna? Tan stitikshasva. You have to endure them, Arjuna. You have to forbear them. You cannot avoid them. You cannot escape them. You cannot run away from them. You develop the capacity to endure, tolerate pain. Sometimes it's good to test yourself. Tolerate failure, endure failure, tolerate even your negative thinking. That is also the opposite side. One time the mind is sattva guna predominant, and when it's peaceful, it's calm, and everything's going well. Then you find next moment what? Suddenly it's disturbed, it's all over the place, or it could get depressed. I don't resist even my own mind changing because that's part of the world. My body, mind, senses, again, make them part of the world. They are the world. So whatever changes are happening there, I'm also okay with those changes. So where there is joy, this is the rule. Where there is joy, there will be sorrow. Where there is victory, there will be defeat. Where there is heat, there will be cold. Where there is day, there will be night. And good and bad, ultimately, from the Advaita perspective, are only perspectives that you have. I label something good because I label something good because it matches my like, right? It's again likes and dislikes. You see, my mind likes this situation, so this is a pleasant situation. My mind dislikes this situation, unpleasant situation. So it is based always on my perception, what I see as good as bad, raga and dvesha. So sometimes we find in life what is good now may not turn out, what I feel is pleasant now may not turn out to be so pleasant in future. And what is unpleasant now may turn out to be a good thing for me in future. This is, there's a very beautiful word in Sanskrit. It is shapanugraha. It's a compound, shapanugraha. It means curse and grace at the same time. Cursing grace, a curseful grace. So in the Puranas, you see stories like this, where Arjuna Mahabharata, there's one story of Arjuna getting cursed by a Gandharva. And he gets, the curse is what? That he has to be 1 year, live 1 year as a female. He has to be in a female body for a year. But eventually, when they are banished to the forest and they have to go 13th year Ajnatavasa without getting recognized, what did this curse become? Became a blessing for Arjuna because he took the role of Brihannalla, the dancer in the court of the King Virata. So you see this great things in the Shastra, in the Itihasas, Puranas. Many times, even the shapas of rishis. We sometimes somebody asked in Chennai when I was doing the camp, why do the rishis keep giving shapas all the time? But often you find the shapas of the rishis turn into blessings eventually for those people. Rishi Shapa, so Shapa Anugraha, very beautiful word. Curse can be a blessing in future. Many times when we go through unpleasant situations, we learn so much about ourselves. We learn to grow. We grow emotionally. We grow strength-wise as well. We develop a tremendous capacity. If you notice, those people who have, like, I don't know whether you have read any of those books, but I read uh, a book about a Jewish prisoner in the Auschwitz. He was in the Holocaust, and he went through all, we can imagine what they have gone through there, that traumatic experience. And the book is so beautifully written because he has not lost his faith. He maintains the faith in God. And he says that it has made him such a strong human being in life. Now, anything that happens, it does not affect him at all. Because after having gone through the worst of things, everything seems tiny for him. So his whole life, he says, it's joyful. I feel so joyful because nothing is as bad as what I've been through. So sometimes when we go through very, very painful situations, in the future we find that Bhagavan has developed our capacity to tolerate, to endure challenges in our lives. So this King Parikshit also, there's another story. King Parikshit, what did he curse? He was cursed to live only 7 more days. He had he had a curse. 7 more days he had to live. But what did he do with those 7 more days? Those 7 days became boon for him because he got to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And 7 days he spent with Krishna, totally connected to Krishna. And eventually he gained spiritual success with that. So we never know in life. The moral of this is we don't know what Bhagavan has in store for our future. Let us accept the present as his gift. It is all a gift. Whatever is happening, it is gift from Ishvara. That is called prasadam. Don't judge it. This is also a very good habit to get into. Don't judge immediately. This is bad. This is good. Keep your mind open. As a spiritual aspirant, I don't know. I really don't know what plan he has. Success may turn into failure later. Failure may turn into success. We don't know. Everything has a plan. There is a story, a Chinese farmer. There are many stories like this, but this one I usually tell for this value. Chinese farmer, he was very poor Chinese farmer, and he had a small farm with one horse. And he had only one son to take care of the farm and that one horse. One day, what happens? The horse runs away. And there are all these neighbors and his relations. Obviously, they have nothing better to do. Even in China, they were like that. So they come to him and say, poor thing, your horse has run away. They sympathize with him. They were feeling very sorry. Oh, you had only one horse, it's gone. And what did this farmer say? He says, maybe it's bad, maybe it's good, but that is the way it is. Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good, but this is the way it is. And a few days later, what happens? That very same horse that runs away brings back 3 wild horses back to the farm. So now he has 4 horses to help with the with the farm. And now again the neighbors and the relations come because they don't have anything else to do and tell him, amazing, look at that. Your horse has brought 3 horses back. You're so lucky. You're so blessed. What does he say? Unmoved. He says, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but this is the way it is. That's all he says. Then what happens? So his only son, who is helping him with the farm, is trying to train one of these wild horses. And we know wild horses can be very wild and very difficult to tame. And he gets thrown off the horse and he breaks his leg. So again, these same relations and same neighbors come. Oh, you poor thing. Your only son who was helping you with this farm, he has broken his leg. What's going to happen to you now? And again, this farmer says, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but this is the way it is. And then a week later or so, there is a war in China, and the army comes to conscript all the young, healthy men to the army. And what do they find? His son is lying in bed with a broken leg, so he cannot be recruited for the army. Whereas all the friends and relations' sons are taken for army duty. So they all come to him and said, "My God, how lucky you are. Your son, this happened to him." And he says the same thing. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but this is the way it is. So all the people realize his greatness, the ability to accept these pairs of opposites, because this is what life is like. We find this constant changing all the time. Something good happening, something pleasant, then something unpleasant, something bad, and we call it like that. So it's very important to face the realities of life. We call it facing sahishnutvam. Sahishnutvam, I face here, vishakyatam, vishakyatam, he says, may you face these pairs of opposites. And how do I face it? The best way is to recognize everything is in order. Whatever is manifesting is Ishvara's order, it is grace. So this bringing an Ishvara into one's life becomes a tool to accept these pairs of opposites. And sometimes it's also good to put yourself through tests. See how you can improve your endurance, your tolerance. Like, I always think of jet planes. Do you know how long it takes for a plane to actually get into flight? It takes months and months because that flight is put through so many vigorous and really, really difficult tests. Like ice, blocks of ice are thrown into the jet engines. It's kept running. And, water, there's winds, hurricane force winds, fire, hail, everything is exposed to. And then only is it flight worthy. So here, like a jet plane, it endures everything in the tests and then it takes off and it's in the air. We should be like the jet planes, that resilience, whatever is thrown at you in life, take it and never get grounded on the land. You take off and you test yourself like that and take everything as Ishvara's order. So Adi Shankaracharya actually in this particular for this value of taking pairs of opposites, he brings in a very beautiful verse in Viveka Chudamani. He says, Sahanam sarvadukhanam apradikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam sathitiksha nigadyate. Take sahanam sarva dukhanam, because we don't have to bear joy, right? He says, bear all the unhappiness, all the dukkha, all the pain. And he gives 3 tips for a spiritual aspirant of how to bear the pain. So when you can't change a situation, when you can't do anything about it, he says, apratikara purvakam. Don't search for steps to nullify that experience. Don't keep looking for solutions. Accept it. Sometimes we can't bear, when something, we're constantly trying to change what we can't. So, Bhagavan, in the serenity prayer, Lord, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Lord, give me the courage to change the things I can. And Lord, give me the wisdom to know the difference between things I can change and things I cannot change. So here he says, apratikara purvakam. Don't try and escape it. When you can't change it, you have to go through it. Make it take it as a test from Bhagavan. You go through it. And he says, what is the attitude that we have going through it? Chinta vilapa rahitam. So he adds an extra here. Without chinta, without worry. Why worry when he is there? Why fear when Bhagavan is there? Chinta means, chinta comes when I worry for the future. What will happen? If this is happening, what is going to happen in the future? So I'm thinking of bearing it, I'm thinking of accepting it, but my mind is resisting still if I have worry, right? I say to myself, I'm bearing the situation, I'm enduring it, but in the mind, what's going to happen to me tomorrow? What's going to happen in future? Chinta, he says, no chinta. How? Why? Because Bhagavan is there taking care of the future also. And vilapa means complaint. Why me? Why me? Why me? We should ask, why not me? Why? We never say, why not me? Why me? Why me? No why me's. In Vedanta, there is no why me. Okay, that is number one. It's rubbed out of the vocabulary. Why me? So why me means this should not be. You're already questioning order, right? When you say why me, you're questioning Ishvara's order. So we say, it's okay. We don't even have to ask why not me. You just say, this is it. This is what I have to face. Chinta vilapa rahitam. I can't control this in my life. So I accept it gracefully as a gift. I don't immediately react. Even if somebody hurts me, this is also to be practiced with people in life. When somebody shouts at me or hurts me, we saw like the Stoic philosopher, right? It's a very good example. When you don't accept the gift, it goes back to the sender. So if somebody hurts me, I also say, that's okay. It is Bhagwan removing Papa Karma. Why should I allow it in? This is the type of personality this value develops here. Shitoshnadi Vishakyatam. And somebody had asked the question about titiksha. This is the value for titiksha. Bear it, endure it, and you can only do that by practice. Practicing when the situation comes, this knowledge should come to the forefront of your mind. First of all, you have to see, the buddhi has to see, is this a fact that is manifesting for me in my life? A fact means what? Definition of fact is that which cannot be changed, right? So when I see the situation, is this a fact? Is it something I can change? If it is something I can change, I can make changes. We don't say you can't make changes, but if I cannot change it, it is a fact. By resisting facts, who am I creating sorrow for? Myself. So I don't resist facts that manifest in my life. Heat is a fact. I can't manage it. Cold is a fact. It is not under my control. Joy and sorrow also become facts. So here is where I bow down my head to the giver of facts. Who is the giver of facts? Ishvara. Ishvara is the giver of facts in life, and I don't resist Ishvara. So when I don't resist situations, I am in harmony with Bhagavan. So we will see the next values today and tomorrow this evening. Hari Om. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ